Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be making an Overwatch tier list from my very new player perspective. If you guys have seen my original Overwatch video I made about 2 months ago, where I played Overwatch for the very first time, you'll know that 1, I play a lot of Paladins, so I have a lot of experience coming from that game, and 2, I am very new when it comes to this game. I don't know a lot about this game, but I have played every single hero at least once. Not all of them have been in a video, but I have done all of them at some point during my Overwatch career. I'm level 26 as it stands on my Overwatch account. I have like 4 hours on D.va. She's definitely the person I've played the most, but other than that, like some other characters that I find fun, Baptiste, he's a great healer, and yeah, I enjoy like some McCree, some of the more simple DPS like McCree, Pharah, some people like that. Torbjörn, he's fun, although I don't know if he's necessarily simple, but yeah, we're basically going to be placing all these guys on a tier list right now, as you know, as I'm sort of a new player, just to kind of see, to show you guys what my perspective is as a new player coming into Overwatch, who I think is really strong, who I think is really weak, and of course you'll be able to compare this tier list to other tier lists in the community that other people have made who have much more experience than I do. And yeah, it should be pretty interesting to kind of see like what the difference is between my very new player perspective as opposed to the perspective of someone who's really good at the game and has a lot of time and experience, you know, kind of in this game. And of course I will be kind of considering like how powerful they could be if they were in the hands of someone who isn't me, because I do have a lot of experience with Paladins, as you guys know, and so I can kind of see how some champions would work and how some champions would counter other champions, which other like new people who are completely new to the genre might not understand, like how a bunch of hit scan like Widowmaker and all sorts of hit scans counter you know, Pharah, for example, because she flies, you know, without cover, and so those guys are much more adept at countering her than someone who has, you know, projectiles or short beams or something like that. Like I'd say Symmetra probably not a good counter to Pharah, just, you know, doesn't really make sense. So yeah, I guess let's just get started with Anna. Yes, her name is A. So she's a really strong healer/support type character. So she has a sniper, which allows her to heal from incredible distances, and she heals for a pretty decent amount in my experience. And she also has a really powerful, two really powerful abilities. First, she can throw a grenade at people, which if they're an enemy, when it explodes, it'll make it so they can't get healed whatsoever, which I believe is the only ability in the game that can do that. And if it hits a teammate, then it'll make it so they get healed more. And she also has the ability to put an enemy to sleep. So all that, when you combine it with her nano boost thing, which basically powers a teammate up, she seems like honestly a really strong support to me in the right hands, and even in my hands. If you guys saw my video where I tried to play her, I did fairly decently, and she all around just seems like a really great support. So we're going to put her in S. I think that's a pretty decent placement for her. I don't really know. Ashe, honestly, she just seems like kind of a mid-tier damage to me. I mean, in my experience, I haven't really been able to do a lot with her. She just seems like someone who, you know, kind of does some suppressive fire. She does a little bit of damage to people from pretty much any range. She has some decent mobility. She doesn't like speak to me as being someone who's really strong, and I have in a lot of cases been able to like beat her up or counter her with sort of divey tanks like Wrecking Ball, for example. So her, I mean, I would say maybe B at the most. Maybe could put her in C later on in the tier list if, you know, A and B gets a little bit bloated, which they usually do whenever I make a tier list. Usually these two tiers really bloated. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but let's go ahead and move on and check out Baptiste. Baptiste is my favorite support in the game right now, just because I like the way how he plays. He's like Pip from Paladins, but with a gun, which I think is really cool. So yeah, he seems pretty strong. He has an immortality field, his ult charges pretty fast, his healing all around seems decent. I think in general he's just a decent healer, so we're going to put him here. Bastion. Oh, now this guy he's interesting. So he has, if I'm not mistaken, like some of the highest damage output in the game. Like he can shred a tank. I've shredded tanks with him. He shreds, you know, he shreds DPS like they're nothing. But the problem is, you have to basically be standing still in order to do that. You can't move. And he only has 300 health, which makes him, I think, one of the tankiest DPS, but he stands still. So someone like, I don't know, Hanzo or someone in general can take advantage of that and kind of jiggle peek, you know, peek, fire a shot, then go back behind a wall so that Bastion can't really hit him. So I feel like in my tier where like people are really new at the game, this guy is like super strong, but I feel like he would kind of fall off at higher tiers, or at higher like echelons of gameplay because, well, yeah, he stands still, and so it's really kind of hard to like do anything when people know how to counter that and how to position themselves properly, and then, you know, I don't know. So I guess we'll do B for Bastion because because that just makes sense in terms of his name, and also strong at my rank, bad at high rank, I'm fairly certain. So I think this is a nice middle ground. Brig. I'm just gonna say Brig because I always end up saying her name incorrectly when I say her full name. So she's kind of like a battle support. The way I like to think of her is she's Reinhardt, but worse. She has a melee weapon, but it's not as powerful as Reinhardt's melee weapon. She has a shield, but it's not as powerful as Reinhardt's shield. She has a bash, but it's not as powerful as Reinhardt's bash. You get the idea. But she's Reinhardt, but worse, but she also has a heal, which she can heal other people with. And when you use like multiple of those heals on a target, it's actually pretty decent healing. But once all three of your heals are gone, it's like you're not really healing that much. So she's kind of like an off healer type, I don't know, just aggressive push up and make space or something like that. I don't know. I just think of her as Reinhardt, but worse. You know what? Let's keep up the trend. B for Brig. I don't know. When I played her, she seemed powerful at times, and her ult is really good, I must say. But like when I wasn't ulting with her, I just felt kind of useless. I'll leave her here for now. Might move her later. Don't really know. Doomfist. He's hard. He's hard. I haven't really ever played anyone who's similar to Doomfist, so he doesn't come naturally to me. He's kind of hard for me to play. I have seen people play Doomfist really well. He's a very high mobility, kind of bursty character. I don't know how strong exactly he is, and considering that he's really hard to get into, it means it's really easy to do bad with him. So I'm not really sure where to put him, honestly. He really does suffer at range, which I think is a problem, because, you know, if you can shoot things at range, that's usually better than not being able to shoot things at range, and he doesn't really have any options for range, which forces him to kind of put himself in danger, and if you don't know how to use him, he's kind of just bad. And, again, I feel like good at lower ranks, when you know how to play him, of course, but then when you get into the higher ranks, I feel like he gets punished easily. I'm not sure about that, though, but that's what I would imagine. So I think I'll put him here just to kind of spread the tier list out, because B is already getting bloated, and we're not even, how long are we into this? We're like 9 minutes in. So I guess we should move faster then. D.va. D.va's a pretty strong dive tank. She's the tank I have the most experience with, in fact, the hero I have the most experience with, and I feel like she's pretty strong in terms of like being able to rush people down, shoot them to death, just all in all pretty strong. Her defense matrix is really nice, but it does get shut down by beams, which is kind of annoying. I mean, personal bias, I want to put her in A. I'm not sure if she really belongs lower. She might belong lower. I feel like we need to place other tanks on the list before we can, like, call that her final position. Echo. Alright, she's a pretty interesting hero. So she has a lot of damage. Her beam does a ton of DPS to people who are below half health, which is pretty nice. All in all, I think she's pretty versatile. She's a champion who can fly, or not a champion, a hero who can fly, which is pretty good, so I think I'll put her here as well. I don't know how busted she is in the right hands or if she gets shut down that hard by other heroes, but I do know, in my personal experience, going against her has been kind of hard, and playing as her has been pretty nice, so I'll put her here. Genji. Okay, so his deflect, it deflects bullets and stuff, which is really helpful. He's actually a pretty hard counter to Bastion in that sense, because if Bastion's not careful and doesn't have good trigger discipline, then he's just going to end up getting himself killed. So Genji's pretty good in that aspect. He's got really good mobility. I have seen a few clips of what Genji can do with his cooldown resets when he gets a kill, so he can kind of just wipe out a team. His ult is really strong. I think he's a solid A. Of course, in my hands, he is like down here, because I suck at it. But yeah, for the most part, I think he's fairly strong. Oh gosh, this guy. We'll just leave him here. So he's basically Shaolin from Paladins. Well, I guess Shaolin is basically Hanzo from Overwatch. I'm not sure which of them really came first, but they're both almost identical, except for the fact that Hanzo can't go invisible, but Hanzo has way more mobility than Shelly. So he can hit headshots that pretty much wipe out someone. He has a burst of 5 arrows, which fires out really fast. He can wall jump, or not wall jump, he can run up a wall. Same thing, I guess. He's got the mobility, he's got the burst. Really the only caveat with this guy is that you have to be good at aiming projectiles, but if you can do that, he seems super strong to me. I don't know, I might be just going against really crazy Hanzo players all the time, but he seems strong to me. Junkrat. Okay, so his primary fire is like dredges in Paladins, which is pretty questionable, unreliable, I'd say. But his bounce pads are pretty nice. He has 2 of them. He can bounce around, and they also do damage to enemies and knock them around as well, so it's pretty good crowd control. His ult is pretty strong, and it's safer than Bomb King's. People say he's like a mix between Bomb King and Dredge, except his ult is much safer than Bomb King's. He basically just sits behind a wall and then pilots a wheel out, and that explodes people, so yeah, that's pretty good, I guess. Problem is his primary fire is just really hard to hit, kind of unreliable, but other than that, I'd say he's pretty solid, so I'm going to put him in B. Lucio. Okay, so he's another kind of off healer type thing. He doesn't really do that much healing, but what he does do is run around at the speed of sound. He boofs people off maps. He boofs people around. He's just kind of a really interesting, high mobility, kind of get in your face, kill you type support. Again, I kind of suck at him, but that shouldn't stop me from putting him in a decent spot on the tier list. The question is, do we put him in A or B? I don't really know. I'll leave him here for now. I don't feel like I really need to put him in B, because the Lucio players I have gone against are just, they usually did pretty darn good. Oh gosh, we're gonna bloat A tier. We're absolutely bloating A tier. Oh no. Hit scan, solid damage. Flashbang, that's pretty cool. You can flashbang and then use your right click or whatever the ability is to basically pump all your bullets into somebody and get a pretty easy kill. High Noon though, you get shut down by shields. You get shut down by people literally going behind walls. It's actually not that easy of an ult to use, which is a little bit interesting considering it automatically does all the aiming for you. His mobility could be better. Actually, I might not put him in A tier after all. I don't really know. I feel like if you can aim really well with him, though, he does get, a lot of jobs done. I think I'm just going to put him here. Oh my gosh. This hero continues to confuse me. So, she's a damage hero who has a wall that she can put up. And she can casually turn herself into a block of ice to block damage, which I have always perceived as a flanker's ability because of EV from Paladins, and I've always perceived a wall as a tank's ability because of Inara in Paladins, but yet she has no real movement ability. I don't really know how I feel about this hero, but she's decent, I guess. She can kill tanks, and can be generally just really annoying. Oh, I hate how bloated these tiers are getting. I'll just drop her here, and I'll drop Mercy here because solid heal beam, solid damage amp thing. The only real problem is she doesn't do damage at all. Like, you can whip out your pistol, but then you're not really healing people, so most of the time you're in your healing staff, which means you're kind of defenseless, whereas, someone like Ana or Lucio just has the primary fire ready to go and can constantly pump out damage the entire time. So that's actually a bit of a problem with Mercy, but her healing is solid, her damage amp is solid, she can revive people, that's pretty cool. I'd say she goes here. She's also really easy to grasp. Her healing is reliable because it's kind of auto-aimy type thing. So yeah, pretty nice. Now Moira, okay. So she has like a heal thrower type thing, basically yellow sparkles that heal people, and that's neat, I guess. The one time I played her, it was miserable, but I think that just has more to do with my team's coordination than anything when I did play her. She seems like a very mechanically easy healer to play, but in terms of like actually mastering her and, doing really, really good with her, kind of hard. I'm not really sure where to put her, honestly. Her healing seems okay. Her damage seems okay. She's kind of limited by range, which is another factor that's kind of bad, which is why I put some people, a bit lower, like Doomfist. So we might just have to put her here. Her ult is pretty good, I guess. Um, I don't really know. She just doesn't, like, she strikes me as an okay character, honestly. I think for the sake of not bloating B any further, I'll leave her here. I might move her later. Okay, Orisa, she's just solid. I mean, I don't really see any problems with this hero. She has a pretty good shield. She has, you know, her fortify ability or whatever that is. She has a minigun with a very massive clip that does some pretty decent damage. She's just decent. She's pretty decent. I like her. I do find her fun. Now Pharah, she's basically, the way I like to think of her, she's Drogo's but more simple. She flies around, she has a rocket launcher. That's pretty much it. She can do pretty good damage, but the problem is, like Drogo's, she has so many counters. I mean, hit scans in general just beat her up. Echo, oh, excuse me. Echo can be decent against her because she can also fly, kind of get up in her face and beat her up. And of course, Echo's projectiles are a bit easier to hit on mid-air targets than are Pharah's. So, she's kind of got the case of when she goes uncountered, she's really, really strong. But when she does get countered, you might as well just switch to a different hero. So I'll put her here for now. Just seems, it's kind of where I put Drogo's on my Paladins tier list, and she's pretty much almost the same hero. I mean, I played her, I picked her up, and my Drogo's experience carried over pretty much flawlessly. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave her here. Reaper, I mean, I don't really know. He, again, suffers from pretty much having zero range. But the one thing he's good at is battling tanks, and, you know, kind of just, the closer he is to somebody, he gets that lifesteal going, he gets that big burst going, and his ult is also pretty cool, although you can't just get stunned out of it, and that's, well, I learned that the hard way. So I don't know. His teleport, you can also easily see it coming and prepare for that, and his edgy walk, I mean, you can also see him there, and you can see where he's going pretty much all the time. I don't really know. I mean, he's fun, he's simple. Again, for sake of not bloating B, I kind of want to put him here. I don't really know. Whatever, we can move him later. It's fine. Alright, Reinhardt. Well, if Brigitte, or Brig is just Reinhardt but worse, then by that logic we have to put him here. But the problem is, like, all sorts of stuns. Like, when I play Reinhardt, it's been painful. Because even though he has a big shield, he's melee, so his options at range are kind of limited except for his little fireball thing, which I guess is helpful. I've seen Reinhardts do good, but I've also seen them do really bad and practically feed. I really just think it depends on, like, the matchup and stuff like that. Like, if you put him to sleep, if you stun him constantly, he's kind of questionable. His hammer is nice, though. I will admit, when you finally get in close quarters, he is painful. He's not someone you want to get close to. So, I don't know. I mean, do we do the logic of he's Brig but better, and just put him in A, or do we put him down in B? Or do we realize this tier list kind of sucks? You've basically got 2 tiers, Andrew. What are you doing? I don't know. Maybe we can spread this out a little bit. You know what? Let's do that. Let's spread it out. Let's move some of these characters from B down to C. Like Ashe, I think I'll move here. Bastion, we can move him here. I feel like fine with leaving these guys there. Yeah, that's probably fine. And maybe we can move some people from A to B, too? I don't know. Yeah, maybe we could move Reinhardt down here. And kind of just leave him there. Also, by the way, if you haven't figured out by now, I'm not ordering these tiers by the strength of, you know, like, the champion, or the hero in each tier. Like, Ana's probably not the strongest hero in the game, relative to everything else. Baptiste, probably not stronger than, like, yeah, I don't know, Orisa or something. I don't know. They're just alphabetical order, so yeah. It makes things simple for me, rather than having to worry about, like, their placement inside of each tier too. A little bit annoying. Alright, Roadhog. Now, my first experience with this guy was horrible. But apparently, I was just up against, like, every single Roadhog counter imaginable. I was up against a Sombra, I was up against an Ana with her anti-heal grenade, I was up against all sorts of garbage that made my life miserable. But then I decided to try him off camera, had an amazing game with him. He's really, really, really strong as an off-tank, but the problem is he does have his counters, you know? So, I don't really know where to put him, honestly. I mean, Like, his heal grenade is good, but again, when he goes up against Ana, it's just, you can't really use your heal, your self-heal thing. But his damage, super strong. I mean, if you hook somebody, shoot them. Well, I think the thing is, you right-click with your medium range thing, then you hook them, then you shoot them with your left click, and then melee them. And that's usually enough to kill most people that aren't tanks. So, yeah, that's pretty strong. I'm tempted to move him to A, but the problem is, he is fat. Like, really fat in terms of his hitbox. He doesn't really have mobility, although he doesn't necessarily need mobility. He's a tank, but he also has no shields, so that could kind of put him in B, but he's really meant to be played as an off-tank, I think. So, filling his role as an off-tank, being able to effectively just exterminate an entire person out of existence with his hook combo thing, pretty strong, so I kind of feel like I should put him here. But now A tier is getting bloated, man. I don't know. Whatever, let's just keep going. Sigma. Honestly, whenever I've seen Sigma, it's done pretty good. I mean, his damage seems nice. He's got a shield, but then he's also got a siphon, so he's got two forms of pretty much mitigating damage. One of them is weak to a beam, of course, but still, bullets and stuff exist, and it blocks those. He's got a crowd control with his stun, and his ult, I mean, it's pretty good. You lift people up in the air, and then you slam them back down, and it does a bunch of damage. So, overall, I think he's honestly just really great. So, yeah, I mean, we could put him here. He just seems pretty good to me. Okay, Soldier. He's just kind of meh, honestly. I mean, he's the guy everyone starts with. He has a gun, he runs, he does things, I don't know. He's just boring to me, but of course boring doesn't equal strength. And as far as strength goes, I don't really know. To be perfectly honest, I don't really see many soldiers. And the soldiers I do see, they just die. Like, they aren't really that impactful. Sometimes their ult is okay, but you just need to hide behind walls or hide behind shields, and then it's not really that impactful. I guess his ult is good against Pharah, but, like, I just don't really know. His missiles are nice, I guess, where you can do, like, a burst combo where you shoot someone and then missiles to finish them off. And he has a self-heal, so I guess he's not all that bad, but, like, he's the epitome of meh. I don't know. I feel like you can just rush him down with any tank and he kind of dies. I'm going to leave him in C, just for sake of not bloating the tier list, and also just, that's my opinion, he's a meh character. Like, I don't know. He's there. He's a hero who exists in Overwatch. Champions of the Overwatch. Yeah. Okay, Sombra. Sombra, she can go invisible for a very long period of time. She can throw down a teleporter, which she can teleport back to if she gets a little bit scared. She can hack people. She's got, this nice machine gun, which does... Honestly, I kind of expected it to do more damage when I first picked it up, but it still does decent enough damage, I guess, and when you consider the fact that you can hack someone before you start shooting them so they can't use any of their abilities to kill you or to escape, I think it's pretty good. The one problem with her being, like, hacking people is that she says, when she comes out of stealth, so she's not really that stealthy when she comes out of her invisibility. And then also, if you shoot her, it interrupts the hack. So, that is kind of the one problem with Sombra. Besides, I guess, a lack of vertical mobility, but who needs vertical mobility when there's stairs? So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, we might be able to put her in B. I know she's just really annoying, but I've also heard people say that she can kind of get shut down. I don't know. I'm just going to leave her here, kind of in the middle, because, well, I mean, she can do good. She can be very helpful to the team. Kind of her ultimate being like a really wide range hack on multiple people is pretty strong. So, I guess we could just leave her in B, sure. These tiers are still bloated. Oh gosh. Okay. Let's see, Symmetra. So, she is a hero with, she has these, like, mini turret sentry things, which are kind of like Torbjörn's turrets, but weaker, but also pretty looking, I'd have to say. And she can have multiple of them, which is kind of the main difference. So that's pretty nice. And when you get your turrets and your beam focused on one single target, it is pretty decent damage, but the problem is she really lacks range in that department. So she has to get like really, well, not really close, but she has to get close enough to people so that her beam can actually kind of kill them, you know? And I guess her ranged projectile is nice. It's a little bit slow, and it also, it does take a little bit to charge up, so she's not exactly the pinnacle of ranged damage. I don't know. I mean, I feel like she might be decent at fighting tanks. I don't really know. I've never been too terrified of a Symmetra before. I might just put her down here, again, for the sake of not bloating it, but also to keep these guys company, and also because I don't really find her to be that terribly impactful. I don't know. Honestly, I feel like half these characters are probably in the complete wrong place, but as a new player who has not really much of an idea of what they're talking about and can only go off of their personal experience, this is kind of what I think. I mean, I've never really been that scared of her. I've been more scared of a Mei, because she can freeze me, and that's really annoying. So, yeah, I guess I'll put her in this tier. I mean, I guess the C tier can be the I've never really been that scared of them, except in the case of Bastion, but, I mean, again, good positioning, jiggle peeking is all you really need to kill a Bastion, so... And even then, like, some of the Bastions I've seen haven't even done that particularly good when I'm not doing particularly good. So I don't really know. Yeah, that's kind of C tier. D tier. I don't know, do I really need to put Doomfist here? I feel like these guys are a little bit too low. I don't know, I mean, is any hero really D tier? I guess if there's not a D tier, then C tier becomes the worst tier, and then you'd have to say that these guys are the worst heroes in the game. I don't know how... Yeah, I don't know how, but I feel like I need to put Doomfist up higher. He's just... He can do really good. I don't think he's like epitome of bad, epitome of suck. But I don't think these guys are either. Tier lists are hard. Yeah, I feel like we could just put these guys in C. But then that doesn't really change much. Tier lists are so hard. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna leave them there for now. I don't know if Reaper goes down there, though. I might have to move Reaper up here. But then is Moira really that bad? I don't know. I mean, her damage is kind of underwhelming. Of course, she's not really meant to be a damage. Her healing, when it runs out, and it's short-ranged, then you need to do more damage to get more healing. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Let's just move on. Torbjörn. He's fun. I like Torbjörn. I like dwarves who build turrets and stuff. So... Yeah, I mean... I guess we could put him here. I guess the real problem is he has projectiles, which aren't the greatest at range, but close range he's kind of scary. Overloading is good. Actually... But A is bloated, though. But his turret does a lot of damage. He does a lot of damage. He can overload to give himself even more armor and just go in and destroy somebody. And, of course, you could get the legendary hammer kills. Oh, hammer kills. We gotta put an S. Nah. Let's... I don't like how my tier lists are always bloated, but I'll leave him here because I like him. Tracer. Okay. She is hypermobile. Her ult could be better. I mean, either make it have longer range or make it do more damage. I don't really know. Her guns, they're alright. She's meant to be like a really fast kind of go in, get a kill, get out, you know, be really fast, really nimble type character. I mean, she's not that hard to like grasp. I mean, her weapons are easy. Teleporting is not that hard. The one, I guess, problem is she doesn't really have that much health. So, like, all it takes is one Hanzo arrow, and all of a sudden, or one Hanzo arrow to the head, and all of a sudden, you're not feeling too good. Do we leave her here, or do we put her here? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Maybe we put her here. Or do we put her here? I don't know. You know what, let's move on to the other people. Widowmaker, I don't know. She's also not very tanky in terms of her health. Her grappling hook is alright, I guess. Her poison mine is alright, I guess. I mean, I've seen better abilities. Her sniper rifle is the big thing that, you know, is really powerful, and that can do a lot of damage, but I feel like she's also really easy to, like, flank with someone who can run up on her and just beat her up. So, I don't know. I think I'll just put her here. I mean, I'm not very good at her. I haven't seen too many terrifying Widowmakers. When I have seen, you know, sort of a competent Widowmaker, I have found ways to work around it and still kill them. So, yeah, we'll put her there. Okay, Winston. Let's just... Monkey. So, Monkey, he has a dome shield, which is honestly probably pretty good, which he could use to kind of just hunker down and kind of poke at some people, but he has absolutely zero poke. He's one of the shortest range characters in the game, and his short range damage doesn't really even do that much damage. You can do like a burst combo where you like pounce somebody and then zap them, but then the entire enemy team turns around and you still die. So I don't see him being that good. They either need to give him some way to poke, or they need to make his zappy stick do more damage. Because, I mean, playing him is just, it's painful. You try and dive in, get a kill, the enemy team turns around and you're dead. I mean, I guess there's an argument to be made that he can kind of make space and, you know, coordinate and stuff like that, but when are you ever going to get a coordinated team in quick play? Or, I mean, I haven't touched ranked yet, but I imagine it's kind of hard to do that either, especially at the lower ranks. So I guess there's an argument to be made about coordinated teams, but even then I still would put him, like, here, just because, like, other tanks exist who can do his job better. Either do more burst, or be a bigger distraction, stuff like that. So, yeah, I do not like Monkey. I'm going to put Monkey down here in D. Even if I do move Moira up, Monkey still goes here. Alright, Hammond. I think he's another S. Just because, well, he's got a decent personal shield that can give him a lot of health. He has a grappling hook and he can go really fast and swing around objectives, swing around poles, stuff like that. He can do his combo where he, like, flies up into the air and then smashes down and does, you know, pretty... He's just really, really annoying to fight against. You know, he makes a lot of space, he does a lot of stuff, he can do a ton of damage with his, you know, spinning around, and then his miniguns are also pretty decent, and his ult is just a zone of denial where you got a bunch of bombs that you don't want to step into, and even though you can destroy the bombs, you still have to take time out of your day and time to, you know, just kill those bombs. So, yeah, he's, I just think he's overall pretty strong. I mean, all the Hammonds I've gone against, or at least most of the Hammonds I've gone against, have done pretty well. Hammonds on my team have usually done pretty well. When I go Hammond, I usually do pretty well. So, yeah, S tier for me. Zarya. Well, let's see. She gets more damage when you damage her bubbles, which is pretty nifty, I'd say. So that can make her a pretty decent damage hero. The way I like to think of her is she's Torvald if Torvald could actually do more than just pocket people. Because she can put bubbles on people who are about to take a bunch of damage, like a tank, for example. I actually had a bunch of people in my Zarya video tell me, hey, sometimes it's better, you know, pocket your tank instead. She's not totally like Torvald in that sense. But yeah, I mean, you just put a bubble on people who are about to take damage, then when that bubble takes damage, you do more damage, and then you go kill things. So that's pretty great. And yeah, her ult, really good for comboing with other big area damage ults, like Zarya ult plus Pharah ult. Ooh, that's spicy. So, or yeah, Zarya ult plus Torbjörn ult. Zarya ult plus pretty much anything that does decent area damage, or even, you know, maybe like a Zarya Baptiste combo where you get the Baptiste wall and then shoot people, you know, through that wall in the Zarya ult, suddenly a bunch of damage. So I think that combination, like her potential to combo ult, is really strong, and her as a, hero in general is just pretty strong. And she has a beam weapon too, which is nice. It's kind of a check on Sigma, it's a check on D.va, because some of their abilities to mitigate damage, they ignore beams. Beams kind of just go through it, and it's really annoying. And now we're down to the final hero. Man, Overwatch tier lists, they're much easier to make than Paladins tier lists in the sense that there's not as many heroes, which is pretty great. Although still, this video has taken a while. The raw recording is like 36 minutes. I don't know how much that's going to be by the time I edit it down, but yeah, let's see. Let's place this final hero, Zenyatta. So his healing is pretty weak. Just being perfectly honest, like outside of his ult, not really doing much healing. I mean, you can put a pocket on like a DPS or something, or a tank or something, and just give him a little bit of extra tickle healing, but it's not that great. Where his strength lies in is his ability to throw an orb of discord on somebody, which makes it so that they take more damage from pretty much all sources, which is really strong. And then also his damage is pretty good. He can charge up a bunch of orbs, then release them all at once, and pretty much just annihilate somebody. So that's helpful. His ult is also helpful. I mean, his ult can be used to counter a lot of damage ults, like, oh no, there's a Zarya plus Pharah ult combination incoming. Then you bring out the Zenyatta ult, and it kind of serves as a check to those types of combos. So that's pretty good. But outside of his ult, outside of his damage potential, like as a healer support type person, he doesn't really do much healing. But I think the rest of the stuff that he does is enough to put him in B. I don't really know. So let's see. Any final touches that I need to make to this tier list? Let's see. I agree with Ana here. I don't know if Hanzo should still be an S. I don't know. A is too bloated. I don't feel like moving him down. Sigma, Hammond. I kind of agree with all these. I mean, yeah, I just... Usually, whenever I see these guys, they do pretty well. They do a lot for the team. Assuming a Hanzo can aim. I mean, at my rank, not a lot of people are that good at aiming with Hanzo, so that's kind of a problem. But, like a good Hanzo, just hitting headshot after headshot, being really annoying, being really aggressive, bursting people. Oh yeah, and I completely forgot about like his reveal too. He can reveal people, and he also has, you know, his ult, where he summons dragons that do a crap ton of damage. So, yeah, I think he's a solid S pick for me. We got Baptiste, D.va. I feel like these are all pretty decent A picks. Genji... I don't know. Maybe we can move him down to B. I feel like... I don't know. There is still that, like, difficulty and reliability thing where, like, it's really hard to get into this hero, and... yeah, I don't really know. I feel like we might need to put him in B. You know what, screw it. Yeah, let's move him down to B. Just because I can. I mean, his damage, like his actual, you know, damage with his primary fire or whatever, could be better, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I've just had bad Genji experience. But, yeah, also I think he has a similar problem where, like, beams go through his thing, and also Doomfist can punch through him, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I guess we'll leave him here. Maybe we should move Mercy down, too. Just for the fact that she can't do damage while she's also healing, which is kind of a bit of an issue. So yeah, maybe we'll move her down here too. But yeah, now B is bloated. And we'll figure that out in a second. Orisa, yeah, she gets things done. I mean, I still stand with my stance that she's a solid tank. Roadhog, yeah, pretty solid off tank. Hooking people, damage burst, pretty powerful. Torbjörn, turret is pretty decent. His damage is pretty decent. Overall just pretty decent. And Zarya, yeah, I mean, she was one of the last people we put on here, so yeah, I think she still belongs in A. B for Brig. Yeah, that. Maybe we can move her to C. I don't know. I mean, I just kind of feel like her healing could be better, but then at the same time, she does have, you know, pretty decent close-up damage. But yeah, she's just Reinhardt, but worse, but with also healing. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember the last time I was really terrified of a Brig. Can't remember the last time a Brig on my team was particularly helpful outside of her ults and the occasional heal. I don't know. Have you guys seen a Brig do well? Probably. Whatever. Okay, Junkrat. Yeah, B. Damage could be a bit more reliable on his primary fire. of course, this might just be me not liking Dredge's primary fire and so putting him maybe lower than he should be. Whatever, we'll leave him here. I guess at the end of the day, his damage isn't going to be that decent at long ranges anyways, unlike McCree, who does just a generally solid job. Could be better, could be worse. We'll leave him there. May, I don't know, maybe we can move her down here too, and then maybe move some people from C to D to just kind of be, I don't know, to kind of spread people out a little bit more. I don't know. Again, kind of lacks range, kind of lacks that much burst, to be perfectly honest. Although once you freeze somebody, then you can get the icicle shot on them and get a headshot, and they take big damage. So maybe we could leave her here. When you combine it with the fact that she can wall people off and ice blocks, yeah, I think we'll leave her here. And we just moved Mercy down, so yeah, that's fine. Pharah, same thing. Strong when she's not getting countered, but when she gets countered, you might as well just switch. Reinhardt, I mean, kind of painful to play at times, but also kind of good at times. Yeah, we can just leave him here. Sombra, maybe we can move her down. I don't know. I mean, hacking people is really strong, but it can't be interrupted. Her damage could be a little bit better, but she can't go invisible. Although, I guess maybe she has the same problem as Skye does in Paladins, where, like, it gets a little bit predictable the more experienced you are at the game, her invisibility. So maybe for that reason we would have to put her down a little bit. You know what? Yeah, just so we don't bloat the tier list too much. And then yeah, I'll leave Tracer and Zenyatta here, because I've seen Tracers get a lot done, and she generally just seems pretty strong in terms of like mobility. I guess her damage is kind of at the same vein as Zombra's, as like it could be a little bit better, but yeah, mobility is nice, I guess. I'll leave her there. Okay, C tier Ashe. Yeah, I've really been particularly scared of an Ashe. Bastion, good, but he gets countered, I imagine, pretty hard by, like, you know, proper positioning, proper jiggle peeking, stuff like that. So yeah, leave him there. Yeah, just move Brig. Doomfist, we moved him up. I don't know, maybe we do move him up to B, but yeah, at the same time, like, no ranged options, constantly putting yourself in danger. I feel like I can get punished, but if you know what you're doing with him, you can punish others for being kind of bad at the game. Do we move Reaper up? Maybe we could. Because he can fight tanks pretty well. I mean, he's got good damage at close quarters. If you hit headshots with him, oh boy, that's chunky. He's got the lifesteal. Mobility is decent. His ult is pretty good. I've seen people wipe teams with it. Can't say the same for Doomfist ult. Yeah, you know what? I find him fun to play, so maybe we'll put him in B just because of that. It's my tier list, I can do what I want. Soldier, same thing, never really been scared of a soldier. He's just kinda, he's the epitome of meh, like I said earlier. Summer, we just moved her. Symmetra, same thing, never really been too scared of a Symmetra. I feel like she just gets outranged and outgunned by people. I don't know. And yeah, Widowmaker, easy to flank. She snipes, and that's about it. Do we leave Moira here? Maybe we can move people down from C, because that is a possibility. Like maybe we can move Widow just so these guys aren't lonely. Or maybe we don't move Widow, because she can get headshots and those can instantly wipe someone out, so maybe we leave her in C. So do we move Moira up? I feel like it'd be a little bit insulting not to move her up, because she can do alright. She can do decent healing. You know what, yeah, let's just leave Winston at the bottom, because he's an icky monkey. Where does Moira go? Oh, yeah, right here, okay. And then, yeah, Winston. He's like Buck and Makoa if Makoa had just a worse ult, and Buck had worse damage, and he can jump in on people, but then he doesn't have the burst to really finish people off. He's got a giant hitbox, which people can just burst down. No poke at range whatsoever, which is annoying. Even Reinhardt, the true melee character, has more range than Winston. Like, his lightning gun is just so short, and then he doesn't really have anything that I can think of that can, like, poke at range, which sucks. And his shield could be better. Like, I'd argue that you could get more out of Reinhardt's shield, or Orisa's shield. It's just, I don't like him. So, Yeah, I think we're gonna call it a day. I think we're gonna say this is the tier list. Cause, I mean, I don't know what else I would do to change it. This is kind of just, I don't know, my thoughts as a new player. I mean, I imagine like a much newer player might put Bastion higher, but I know how he could get countered, so that's why we're going to put him lower. But I'm not sure if the rest of these guys are even in technically the best places. Like, I'd imagine on a probably, if not S tier, she's got to be at least A tier, right? I'd imagine that's something we can agree on. But I don't know about the positions of, like, I don't know, Baptiste, for example, or Torbjörn. Maybe other people put him lower who have more experience in the game. Honestly, I have no idea. But this is just kind of my thoughts after, spending a bit of time in Overwatch, finally getting around to playing every hero, and yeah, just sort of getting into this game for the first time, having a lot of fun, and yeah, just trying to place some people on a tier list. And yeah, it should be interesting, both like for you guys to compare this to other pro, or I guess just more experienced players making tier lists, and also it'll be interesting, if I continue playing Overwatch, to look back in like a year and see, wow, this list is stupid, because it probably is stupid. I don't know. That's just kind of what I think as a new player. What different heroes seem like in terms of their strength, in terms of their power levels, to me, someone who's pretty much brand new at this game. So yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload from me. Also, make sure to join the Discord server linked in the description. We have a wonderful community with a bunch of active people who play Paladins, Overwatch, and occasionally some other games, so go check it out. Also, huge shout out to the members of the channel for helping to support what I do. If you want to help support my content and unlock some cool new emojis and an exclusive role in the Discord server, then just click the join button right next to the subscribe button. Anyways, I will see you all next time. Peace out.